Hello, everyone. This is Independent Conservative. Thank you all for joining me once again. So I want to talk about a video that I saw in reference to Turning Point USA holding an event. Of course, you know Turning Point USA was founded by Charlie Kirk, the late Charlie Kirk. But this organization was holding an event at UC Berkeley, and the Antifa, the terrorist group Antifa, came in and caused some major problems. At least 2 people were arrested, which is interesting to me, according to this article I'm about to read to you guys. At least 2 people were arrested. Really? That's it? This terrorist organization, you only arrest 2 people? But anyway, I digress. And they caused some major issues, okay? So I'm going to get right into this, and I'm going to give you guys my opinion on what I see happening here and what I see is going to happen in the future, okay? So, just Antifa protesters were out in force at Turning Point USA event hosted at UC Berkeley on Monday, intimidating the crowd by blocking exits and shouting, "F you fascists." Okay, now, these people never learn, but they're not going to learn because they're paid to do this. Anyway, viral videos show masked protesters cursing at the crowd as they exited the venue while police held them back. At least 2 arrests were reportedly made. So I'm going to let you guys listen in on some of this crap. Wow. Let's listen in on something else here. Let me see. Here's another one. And the videos show these people dressed in these, they look like jihadists, dressed in these masks and so forth, which is interesting because when ICE was going around essentially getting rid of illegals, these same people were pooting and snotting about why they're wearing masks. Oh, so it's okay for you to wear masks, a terrorist group to wear a mask like you guys Antifa are, but ICE, in trying to protect their identities from clowns like them, can't wear masks? Man, get out of here. Unless you guys listen in on another one, we're going to get right into this. People... They're saying, F you, fascists, you know. Yeah. Okay, anyway, the article goes on to say some protesters were reportedly seen celebrating the assassination of Turning Point USA founder Charlie Kirk, who was gunned down in September while speaking at Utah Valley University. Of course they're going to say that. They have no morals. And that's the end of that article right there. Yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit on that because first things I want to address is Trump reportedly assigned this group, Antifa, as a terrorist group, okay? And I find it interesting to me that this group, this terrorist group, is allowed to do what they do with seemingly impunity. Somebody may argue, well, they have the right to protest. It's a terrorist group. Could you honestly say the same thing about the Weather Underground, which some people don't even know nothing about? But the Weather Underground was a radical left-wing terrorist group founded in the 1960s that were known for bombing buildings. I don't know if anyone died from it, but they were known for bombing buildings. Weather Underground is the name of it. It was founded by and I forget the man's name, but he actually became a professor, a tenor professor. Here's a man founded a far-left radical communist group known as Weather Underground who wanted to destroy America with a violent revolution, becoming a professor in a prestigious university. I think it might have been Harvard. I think he might have became a tenor professor in Harvard. That group, Weather Underground, was designated a terrorist group, and yet they're allowed to operate with seemingly impunity. Well, could we say the same thing about this Antifa group? Why is this group allowed to harass Turning Point USA for holding an event? Why? And they say, F you fascists, okay? They've been brainwashed clearly into believing that Turning Point USA is a fascist. You know, they base of fascism, which essentially fascism is the ideology that essentially says that the government and corporations and big businesses and big corporations are in bed with each other. They're in league with each other. And I understand that. I don't deny that. I believe that there is some of that in America. I do. I'm not going to lie about that. Fascism is real. It wasn't just in Italy. I think it has some influence here in America. These big corporations, these big major corporations create lobbyists that lobby Congress to create laws that favor their corporation. Okay. And then the lawmakers, they give into it because these lobbyists have huge sums of money given to them by the corporation, which are owned in large part by the international banking families who own stock in these corporations. So therefore, they control them to a large extent. And they supply funds to these lobbyists who supply tons of money to the campaigns of the politicians and lobby them to create laws that favor their corporation. So there is, in a sense, some form of fascism going on in the country. I'm not going to deny that at all. That is not, I can't deny that. That's just not true. I mean, that's true. Fact, there is a sense of fascism in the country. So I'm not going to deny that. The problem with the Antifa is they're blind and dumb as a box of rocks because they have no real physical evidence that I have heard, because they never talk. Nobody ever interviewed an Antifa member that I know of to say, why do you believe that Trump and his administration and Charlie Kirk are fascists? Remember what fascism really is, okay? Why do you believe they're fascists? You know, because if that's the case, because here's the deal. If that's the case, right, then could we argue that those who were people like Biden and other Democrats were in the same bed with these corporations? Right? Okay. Did not the Democrats also protect these large corporations when they were in office? Isn't that a form of fascism? Although the Democratic politicians would like to claim that the Republicans, or rather Trump, is a fascist, but in reality, many of these Democratic politicians are protects the same ideology. Hey, if this corporation is going to give me tons of money in my campaign, I'm all for it. That's fascism, stupid. Okay, you in bed with the politician. You trying to give the politician all this money to favor something that you want in your corporation. And the politicians say, okay, yeah, I'm paid and bought and sold. Let's do this. That's fascism, stupid. Because the politicians are a part of the government. Corporations, government, in bed with each other. Duh. Anyway, no one has ever interviewed any of these people. So my question is to Antifa is, in what way is Trump a fascist? In what way, and I mentioned Trump because Charlie Kirk supported Trump and in fact, according to some sources, helped him to be elected. Okay. In what way was Charlie Kirk or Turning Point USA fascist? If they support business and they support free market capitalism, that is not necessarily proof that they're fascist. I support free market capitalism. I'm not crazy about these major corporations, okay? But I do support free market capitalism. That's what Charlie Kirk supported, free market capitalism. Not lazy R, what they call lazy R capitalism, which is, once again, I believe that's closely related to fascism, which is the idea that the government and corporations are in bed with each other. They have a connection, they have a tie. You scratch my back, I scratch yours. Laissez-faire capitalism, okay? But in what way was Charlie Kirk's or his organization, fascists. He supported free market capitalism. Free market capitalism simply is that. It's a society where the government essentially stays out of the way to a large extent of a person who's a business person who creates who has a product, and the buyer, the person that wants to buy it. That's free market. Free market is you can create a business and you can sell your products to people who want to buy your products and have the money to buy. That's free market capitalism. I'm in total support of that. Who wouldn't be supportive of that? That's what Charlie Kirk was about. That's what I believe Turning Point USA is all about. Okay? I don't think that they, in a large extent, want to support a merging of the government with major corporations where the major corporations are actually running and controlling the government, or at least have some kind of deal. But there is, as I said earlier, there is some connection with these major corporations and the government. That's been going on for decades. That shouldn't be new to anyone. But here's the bottom line. What I see here with Antifa, this terrorist organization, I'm hoping that I'm wrong, but I'm predicting, unfortunately, if hopefully it'll be stirred. I hope God by His grace turns it around. That somebody else gonna get hurt, or somebody else is going to get unalived by these people. Somebody is going to rise up that's going to be powerful like Charlie Kirk, knowledgeable about politics, a born again Christian, really articulate, able to explain things and break things down. And this person, whether they be male or female, is going to be very powerful and influence a lot of people. That's going to be an issue with Antifa. Now, I'm not saying the guy that assassinated Charlie Kirk was associated with Antifa. I think someone was saying that he was. I'm not sure of that. And I'm not going to say that he was. I don't know. I'm pretty sure he wasn't against Antifa. I can tell you that. I guarantee he wasn't against them. But at any rate, this is what I see taking place. Okay? Because it's this group right here, Antifa, that's a violent group. They were around causing chaos in the 2020 riots after the George Floyd situation, along with Black Lives Matter. Okay? And Black Lives Matter, I don't know why. I think Trump designated Black Lives Matter a terrorist group too, because during 2015 in the Obama administration, I think 3 or 4 police officers were unalived by people who were associated with Black Lives Matter. Tell me that's not a terrorist organization. Come on, man. But at any rate, they were around during the 2020, Antifa was around during the 2020 riots, causing chaos all over the country. Terrorist group. And one has to wonder, once again, back to my former question, why would these people be allowed, why would this terrorist group be allowed to operate with impunity at a place like this? It doesn't make sense. Somebody could argue, well, it's freedom of speech. Really? They bomb and stuff, and I hear bombs going off and causing chaos. Really? All these people wanted to do, Turning Point USA wanted to do, is have an event. Someone on the right conservatives can't have an event because you think they're fascists? What proof do they have that Turning Point USA is a fascist organization? I want to hear it. I want to hear from a Antifa member. Mask on or mask off. What evidence did you have that Turning Point USA is a fascist organization? When you understand what fascism actually is. What? Please let me know. Because until then, these people are nothing but brainwashed, useful idiots. That's what Lenin said these people were. A communist, he was a communist though. Said that the idealistic people that followed his ideology were nothing more than useful idiots. They think they're doing something good when in reality, they're being used by the higher ups to push an agenda. And then once they finish with their agenda, you out the door, bro. We don't need you anymore. You're dirt to us. Get out of here. You're a useful idiot. Taking that phrase and applying it to those who are members of Antifa, that's what it seems to be they are. They think they're doing a good thing. But are they? Are they doing a good thing? We'll find out. So that's what I had to say about that. What do you guys think about this situation with Antifa causing chaos at UC Berkeley because Turning Point USA there is holding an event. Now they want to cause chaos. What do you guys think of this? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Like, share, subscribe to my channel. God bless you all. See you again.